High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a senior and I'm not really sure where I want to go to school yet, but I do know I want to go into sports marketing. That's
Awesome.
pretty much all of me.
That's good. And Laura joined us too. What up, Laura?
Good afternoon / more evening. I don't know what time it is anymore.
Laura, we were just doing introductions. I interrupted Mike from introducing his team. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, no problem. Next up, let's do Kennedy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kennedy Clifton. I'm a junior at Bishop Ireton in Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm undecided as to where I want to go to college as of now, but I do want to major in executive business.
Sweet.
I do also want to make note every single one of them is student booted today, so take pride in that. Lauren, you're next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Fells. I'm a senior at Smithtown High School West on Long Island, New York. I definitely want to major in sports management and marketing, depending on where I go to college. So I'm currently undecided, but slowly making my decision to commit somewhere, hopefully soon.
And then last but not least, Killa Cam.
Hey, my name is Cameron Poppin. From Mooresville, North Carolina, 10 Pine Lake. I'm a sophomore, so definitely don't know where I want to go to school yet, but maybe want to go for sports statistics.
Awesome. Laura, you're the only person we haven't heard from yet, so we need to know who you are before you start grading up these kids and we get kicked off. Bit of background on yourself.
Waters Brown, in between the PGA Tour and Wasserman Media. In the next 2 weeks, working on the Collective brand, where we will focus on all things women in sports across our entire business. Background is in digital, all things social media, and rev gen on the interwebs.
Thank you, Laura. So I want to say a couple nice things about everybody before we kick off. In advance of that, who is going to lead the presentation? This might be a good time. All right, Mike. So if you want to start, make sure you have access to it and get it pulled up. But I did press record, so we're greenlit. I want to say thank you again to starting off with Jasmine and Mike. You guys have invested a lot of time over the last couple months to lead our students. So thank you for that. To the students, so fired up to see you guys presenting today. I think just to keep in mind, like, it's not necessarily about winning, right? This is about the experience, and more importantly, this is about the connections that you're going to make with Laura, with Carl, with Mike, with Jasmine, with myself. So hopefully use this opportunity to professionally develop and grow, and hopefully put together a great presentation and learn through the process. But just know that we're all here to support you. I know every one of you doesn't really know what you want to study. You don't really know where you want to go. Well, you've got 5 people on this call that are happy to provide you some advice and support and nudge you towards the direction of where they went to school. But in all honesty, just know that we're all here to support you. And that's kind of our common bond, is you guys all want to get better. We all want to support you in that mission to get better. So thank you for spending the last couple months working on this project. I know it's been kind of a pilot. This is our baby. We're launching it. But I can't tell how much we appreciate you guys spending your time and are really excited to have you today. So Carl and Laura, you guys are the judges. So, Mike's going to lead the presentation, but you're able to ask questions as they go through and kind of run this however you'd want. We'll probably have to keep a pretty hard stop right around 5:30. I'll give the whole group a 5-minute warning. But beyond that, I'm going to stop talking and let our students jump in.
Alrighty, hi everyone. I'm Gavin Broom with Team Mystics, and our goal for this project was to find the main strengths and weaknesses of the Mystics social media accounts and try to see how they can improve on those strengths and weaknesses. To do this, we assessed their Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter accounts. And we're going to move on.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Fells. I'm a senior at High School West from Long Island, New York, and I am majoring in sports management, and I'm currently undecided where I will be attending college.
Hi again, I'm Kennedy Clifton. I go to Bishop Ireton in Alexandria, Virginia, and I want to major in sports business, but I don't know where I want to go to college yet either.
Hello, my name is Cameron Poppin from Mooresville, North Carolina, 10 Pine Lake. I'm a sophomore and don't know where I want to go to college, but it's for sports statistics.
And hi again, I'm Gavin, and I go to East Mecklenburg High School. And I'm not sure where I want to go to school yet, but I'm definitely going for sports marketing.
Okay, so just to start us off with some facts and a brief introduction about the Mystics won their first WNBA championship in 2019, and they were led to it by Elena Deladon, who was that season's league MVP. The Mystics very impressively have the highest offensive rating in the WNBA, sitting at 112.9. Combining both the 2018 and 2019 seasons, the Mystics won 48 games and lost 20 in total. Their head coach, Mike Thibault, is the all-time winningest coach in the WNBA with 336 wins. He's also won 3 championships in total, 2 being with the Connecticut Sun and the most recent one being with the Mystics. But we also want to give a huge shout out to the Mystics partners such as Capital One, Pepsi, AT&T, and Geico for donating and helping with the fans during these trying times. So just as we all know, 2020 was a crazy year to say the least. So many things happened that affected the Mystics and the entire WNBA. COVID-19 really changed the entire sports profession for everyone in it. This pandemic put all sports team seasons on hold for a while. And then when they decided that they would actually play, a lot of the rules had changed. So the Mystics had to play in a wobble, which means all the teams played in the same location in Florida and have restrictions on where they could go and who they could see during the season. There were also no fans allowed, so that changed the dynamic of the game a lot. And to make the situation a little bit more difficult, 2 of the best players on the Mystics team opted out of the season. Elena Deladon wanted to opt out because of her struggles with Lyme disease and because of her health. And the crazy thing is that the WNBA was trying to deny her leave. And the other best player on the team, Natasha Cloud, opted out for advocacy purposes. This is also when the Black Lives Matter movement was at its peak. And with all of the crazy things happening in our country, it was really nice to see the support of the players, staff, and coaches who wore special shirts for the social justice movements.
So all of the Mystics social media accounts are listed under the same name at Wash Mystics, which makes it a lot easier for fans to find the accounts. So the Mystics are present on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok with well over 1,000 followers on each platform and a lot of fan engagement.
With each social media, they try to show the Washington Mystics organizations in their own way. They each try to appeal to the main demographic for each app. Throughout this presentation, we will show you what we found, which will be both the positives and negatives, and what we think their social media team can do better.
So what sets the Washington Mystics apart? Their Twitter has well over 50,000 followers, averaging about 88 likes, and they frequently get their sponsors involved, which from a fan's point of view is extremely important. Following that, their Instagram, which is their most active platform, has over 73,000 followers. We found that their engagement on Instagram alone has increased from 0.68% to 1.14% in the last 2 months. So because Instagram is their primary platform, it makes complete sense that the engagement has grown this amount in just 2 months. On the Instagram, they are posting daily and are consistent with themes and graphics. And lastly, we have TikTok. So because it's a new and upcoming platform, the Mystics have just over 1,000 followers and are averaging about 131 likes on each post. They're also keeping up to date with engaging and relevant content, which is crucial for young fan engagement.
While researching the Mystics, something that stuck out to me was their formatting. They use the same formats for most of their posts, and I really enjoyed it. And I liked how they didn't try to do too much with those type of posts. I saw how they posted a lot of information about the players. I like seeing those posts since they gave me a better understanding of those players, made me see how they're just like every other person, but I would definitely like to see more of those type of posts. On the other hand, I felt sometimes they could be too professional. They made it seem like a business instead of trying to build their connection with the fans. The main reason for this, for me, was they're too long of captions. I think if they shortened things down and made it simple, I would really enjoy it a lot more. I didn't like certain graphics. Some of the pictures were cropped out weirdly and it just didn't look right. I think if they cropped it to the center and what they were trying to portray, I think it'd be a lot better for them. Something I found was the Phoenix Mercury have one of the best Twitter accounts in the WNBA. I love how they're keeping up with current trends, getting the other sports involved. I liked how they kept the captions to a minimum. I think it's very enjoyable because I don't really have time to read all those long captions. I think what most people want from teams is to interact with them. I know it's hard to get to every single fan, always replying, but I think they should make an effort to at least do so. I think also having some players on the page, whether it's funny, gifs, whatever, something silly that they've done, it'll go a long way. It doesn't have to be funny either. They could just make a short highlight of that player's year or just a few clips put together.
The Mystics Instagram generally impressed me. It is their most followed account, and it's not hard to see why. They give each individual player personal Instagram stories, so you can just get to know the roster if you want to. And they reference their NBA counterparts a lot, so that gives NBA fans a new gateway into the WNBA community. And I do have a few suggestions, though. They are not as engaged with fans as I would like them to be, especially in the comments. They don't reply at all. And I do want them to have more player promos for fans, or just get the fans going more with videos. One thing I noticed about the Phoenix Mercury is that they showcase their star players a lot more, showing season highlights of Brittany Griner, but the Mystics don't do that as much, which I don't really see why, because they have arguably the best player in the league, Elena Delle Donne, and they really should make the fans feel more part of the team and have special contests where the fans can win certain items and prizes.
So Kennedy and I focus most on TikTok. So if you don't know, TikTok is an app where you can create up to 60-second videos. So when looking at the Mystics TikTok, since it's a new app, the Mystics are keeping up to date with current trends, like dances and popular sounds used frequently on the platform and on the tab, the For You page. They're also keeping up to date with post captions like hashtags and hashtags, which are crucial because 60% of the younger generation participates in some way on TikTok. So our suggestions for TikTok are ways to increase engagement on the app or to introduce a new series. So Kennedy and I came up with two. The first one is Mic'd Up at the Mystics Mondays, or the Triple M series. So this, we suggest that they mic up players and coaches during pregame warm-ups, practices, or photo shoots, which would give fans a more inside and personal look at the team. And then another series would be TikTok takeovers. So currently takeovers are not really present on TikTok. They're more present on Instagram. So introducing these would really elevate the playing field, or in this case, the court, on this platform. So then we suggest that they post daily, involve the players more, because overall, that's really what the fans want to see.
As Lauren said before, we worked on seeing what the Mystics social media team could do better to enhance their TikTok page. Sometimes looking at what the other teams do well could give you some ideas of what we could do better. So I looked at the Los Angeles Sparks TikTok page. They have 57,000 followers, so it's safe to say that they're doing pretty well for themselves. They're really good with keeping up with current trends, keeping the players engaged, and having easily accessible names, such as at Los Angeles Sparks. They also post almost every day, keeping the fans engaged. Some examples of the type of content they have are vlogs led by the players, highlight reels of the players, question and answer sessions for the players, and dances done by the players. The biggest thing is really showing the players' personalities so that the audience wants to come back for more. As a TikTok user myself, some things that are engaging to fans are to use sounds that are on the For You page and to keep the players involved. All the social media platforms are doing pretty well, but I feel like the platform that needs the most work is TikTok. TikTok needs the most work because it has the least amount of following and there's a lot of room for improvement. Some things the social media team could do better to improve it is to appeal more to the audience. The majority of the audience is the younger generation, so specifically 20 years and younger. So I feel like it's really important to keep it light and fun. It's also really helpful to keep everything easily understandable for all the younger ages. We recommend that we work to post daily, know the specific page's demographic, and to make sure all the content is current content.
So to sum it all up, we found that focusing the most on TikTok will be the most beneficial because of the potential that it holds for the Mystics. We suggest that they involve the sponsors and the players more because ultimately that's what the fans really want to see. We also recommend that we also want to commend the Mystics for the amazing work they've done throughout the pandemic, because as we all know, it's definitely not been easy, and the work they've done has really not gone unnoticed. As well as their sponsors and the donations that they've given throughout this time definitely has not gone unnoticed. We thoroughly enjoyed taking a look at the Mystics social platforms, and we'll be looking forward to seeing their content in the near future. Thank you so much for your time, and #TogetherDC.
That was great, guys. That was good. That was good stuff.
Really, really well done, team. I would like to pass the baton to Laura and Carl for any questions that you may have, or any follow-ups.
Yeah, just jumping in. So understanding how you guys were looking at the different platforms and I guess competitors and I guess aspiring accounts really. Can you kind of talk to the methodology and how you were determining what people were doing well? Like when you were looking at other accounts and you were like, they do this well. Can you talk through a little bit of the methodology of how you were thinking through what is well, right? I think specifically when we think about social, everybody's voice and how you interact on the platforms are going to be specific to the various teams, right? The various assets that you have. So just would love to see if you can give any context to that.
I can speak to that. So I know at least for TikTok, when I went to the LA Sparks page, a lot of like knowing what is good and what isn't goes off of the likes and the comments. So if one post has 100,000 likes and another post has like, say 4,000, it's like, which ones are the more liked ones, which ones are like better. And the more that they post, the more likes that they get on their different posts. So that kind of just keeps the fans engaged. And they also comment on their posts. Like they engage with the fans who are commenting on the posts.
Man, I mean, I don't really have a lot of questions. I think you guys did an amazing job. Definitely better than anything I would have put together in high school, let alone probably into college. So very well done. I guess for each of you, what's one thing that you discovered doing this project that was either new to you or was really interesting to you that you didn't know before?
At least for me, I am pretty set on majoring in sports management in college. So this kind of gave me like a real hands-on experience, and I never really thought to look into like the analytics and like the likes and the comments, which would equal like what fans really like to see. So I enjoyed like looking, I guess, behind the scenes of that stuff instead of just from like a fan's point of view. It was really cool to see like the behind the scenes, and now I kind of know a little bit more of what I really want to do in the future is just further than majoring in this field.
I really learned how important it is to stay relevant and stay new on all these social media platforms and how many you have to manage at the same time. But actually, there may be one person per social media that manages each one. But you still have to remain very relevant. And one thing that's going to work for one social media may not work for another platform. So that's what I learned.
Laura, can you shed some light on that? I know you've done this job basically. Like, as Gavin talked about, like, is it one person per platform, or is there one person managing multiple things?
You are lucky if it's one person per platform. Most teams and organizations and clubhouses, one person is pushing send on all of the platforms, and that helps to keep the voice consistent, right? Because Gavin, you and Cameron or Lauren or Kenny, you all talk differently. And so in order to remain consistent, it's usually one person. Now at some of the more desirable organizational structures, they pull in resources from the video team to help create the video clips. They pull in resources from the editorial team to help create, quote graphics, or to go into the presser and identify the quotes. Because if you think about it, and I definitely recommend going through the Mystics like a game day feed from I would go 24 hours before tip off all the way through 24 hours post tip off and see the evolution of the content, because what is happening is the social media manager, content strategist is creating a story, right? So in the 24 hours, I tell you the game is happening. Now I've got to tease you into being interested into the game and into the sport, all the way up to building excitement, whether you're at home or, pre and post COVID, in the arena, making sure you're engaging, making sure that your sponsorships are fulfilled. Because I know everybody mentioned the how some of the posts seemed very corporate, right? And that's a fight that a lot of social media managers have to have with the partnerships team, because your company, the company X, Dove or whatever, wants their message to be very specific and succinct to their brand. Whereas that doesn't always match the voice of your platform. And so that's where you can see the disconnect. The really good teams are able to work with that partner to bring their messaging into their voice. But when you follow that conversation all the way through game day, whether it's a post, they win the next day or they lose the next day, how the voice handles, it's really, there's a psychology behind it that I could probably talk for hours on, because it's just so interesting, right? Like if you consistently lose, i.e., I was with a team that's going to win the Super Bowl this year, the Cleveland Browns, before, and we didn't win. We didn't win too many games. And so your voice has to be reflected. It has to remain consistent with the platform, but you also can't disrespect your team because they cut the paychecks. So there's so much juggling that has to be done. And there's so much depth that you could go into on each platform, but definitely look at each platform as its individual identity and entity. But Gavin, I wish I had more than me when I was posting. And that was when we only had Twitter, Facebook, maybe Instagram, I think. And we were barely on Instagram. And all those platforms have changed since then.
Absolutely. And just to chime in there, so when I was at Bleacher Report, I was on the social content strategy team, integrated strategy, working primarily brand facing. So I used to have, those battles internally with our programming team. Like, no, this is the American Express jersey assurance jersey swap. We need to fit that into the caption. And they're like, yo, he made a layup. What do you want me to do here? Yo, looks good in the new jersey. Shout out to Jersey Assurance. I don't care. Fit it in there. So oftentimes we did have that conversation because, to your point, programming is all about voice. And then also to Laura's point, right? Storytelling is so beautiful in that the narrative, needs to always be organic, but where we can really have fun is in the articulation of it. So this moment happens, right? Where do we articulate it? Does it make sense for Twitter? Is it a quick bite? Is it something that we want to create a thread around and have people just commenting about a dunk or a play? I think a team that does it really well is the Lakers. Obviously, they have LeBron, but LeBron will have an assist and they'll be like, yo, icy dime by LeBron. And all of a sudden you go to the thread, everyone's just going crazy and retweeting versus, to your point, TikTok or Instagram story gives you that first person feel narrative, walking through the tunnel, pregame shoot around, dapping up fans. It's making it feel like you're right over the shoulder, right? So once again, you can still have that pregame moment feel, but it's going to look different for every platform. So if you understand that, and I think Laura gave you a beautiful exercise this weekend. I mean, there's tons of games for football. Definitely follow the Ravens. They do a really good job as well. But, you know, playoff season, they got Lamar Jackson. They're going to be pumping out a ton of content, probably starting tomorrow to lead up into the game. We'll give you a good sense of how to kind of contextualize the narrative and thinking about the different inflection points and how to articulate them.
Cameron or Kennedy, did you guys want to answer Laura's question? Is there anything that you really learned through this process that you were surprised by?
Yeah, you guys just stole mine. I was gonna say incorporating all the sponsors. Yeah, like looking at some of the posts, it was hard for me to imagine what I would have done differently. I think doing that is probably one of the hardest jobs for me if I was on that team. So I don't know, it's hard to criticize when I can't do anything about it.
You can provide an opinion, and we're teaching you. It's okay. Kennedy?
For me, I think the biggest thing for me was it taught me how to like brand. So I'm starting my own brand, so I feel like this was a really cool way to know like what should be on your social media, what shouldn't, what engages the fans, what gets you more followers. Like I've been a social media intern before, but I didn't really know how in depth it was and how many things go into it. So it was really cool to see like what I can use in the future.
We've got a couple minutes. Do you all have any questions for Carl or Laura?
I have something because I always have words, and I took
Boom.
notes because I'm taking my position as an educator seriously. I have notes. Okay. And I'm sure Carl has done these presentations for all types of people many a time. So a few things just for thoughts moving forward on other presentations that you guys do. First of all, you guys killed it from like just an engagement. Everyone's like eye contact in a digital world is hard to do, paying attention. So very well done there. I will say this on your slides, right? You're telling a story. So like your headshots, just sync those up, right? So you've got a couple of them like don't copy, and you clearly copy them, but you know, that's not a problem. But don't don't be afraid to show your personality. So it doesn't have to be your school headshot or your senior, headshots or your sophomore headshots. Like you will never see me in a serious photo ever. You're just not, right? So, if you're thinking about what you're talking about, social, it's fun, it's hip, it's cool, it's vibe, it's a whole mood, right? Let your personality come through and definitely show that. And then the only other thing that I would say is show me what you're talking about in the presentation, right? So you were all talking about, this post was really serious, it should have been more fun. Just do a quick screenshot or a screen grab of that post and just put it in the corner and say, okay, here's where they could have done, or if I would have used this post, or made this post, here's how I would have phrased it. Or I think, Cameron, you mentioned some of the photos were cut off, like show an example of what that looks like, because I think one of the biggest, the bane of my existence when I was posting social was that how the thumbnail would cut off an image, and I would get this super dope, beautiful photo that was just, and then they would cut it. And it was like, it ended up being like a kneecap. Like nobody sees the whole, like it loses its funny, it loses its punchline. So show me in the presentation, what you're talking about, because a lot of times, although this is a space that is that we all know very well, there are still a lot of people in the industry who have no clue what you're talking about. What is a TikTok? What is the Twitter? You know what I mean? And so you want to break it down and show them. You guys did a great job explaining it to them, but you want to show as well as tell. And then I think, Carl, you said just cite your sources. I think someone made a statement about 60% of young people like hashtags. Like just at the bottom of that page, do a little asterisk and put sourced from yada, 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 so on and so forth. Because otherwise you'll be like me and end up in a presentation, somebody call you out and be like, oh, so where'd you get that information from? I don't know. But I think you guys did a great job. I was super impressed. Definitely super impressed. You guys did way smarter than I was at your age. I can say that right now. And that was a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Echoing everything she said, you guys did an amazing job, like super solid. I think the only other thing I was gonna say, and to Laura's point, like just being able to see what you're talking about. I think what you guys did really well though, and I was like prepared for a lot of times kids your age will put together these presentations and they just have straight essays on the slides, like a million words, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And I was like shocked, pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, there's literally 11 words on this slide. That's amazing. But, you know, once again, eye fatigue is a very real thing as a viewer of a presentation. So think about different formats for your slides. All right. After we get to third slide of like 2 boxes, words, parallel, like, okay, I'm like, you know, at points like, am I reading it or am I just imagining that this has the same information as the previous slide, as the previous slide, as the previous slide, because the format. I think there's a lot of opportunity there to just include like big, high res, beautiful images. When it comes to my presentations, I'm a big fan of full bleed images and just like high res pictures, because like at the end of the day, like I'm gonna look at whatever's on the slide for maybe 10 seconds, but then hear you and look at you as you present to me. So, I mean, I've seen presentations that were like just pictures and the guy was just up there talking. And like, you know, TikTok, and it's like a big, beautiful TikTok logo, Instagram, and it's like a really nice Instagram post, but there was really nothing on the slide. So I think as you guys go through, I don't know, school started, right? We're in the school year. That's where we're at?
Who knows?
I don't know. Exactly. I don't know what school's like these days. I don't know what the calendar year looks like. But if you guys have any upcoming presentations, definitely play around with your formats and your slides and see what works. Like, I don't know, like Pat, are you going to send out our emails and information so they have to connect in the future?
Would love to do that if you guys are okay with it. And then even Carl, if you have like a couple presentations you all could share that doesn't have sensitive information to kind of show them how it looks.
Yeah, I have some that that are, you know, kosher to share with you guys so you can see. I'm also just a big Keynote guy. I'm not sure what you use to make this. I firm believer Keynote, best presentations out there. But that's just my final 2 cents.
Yeah, Carl hit it on the head. Like images, especially when you're show me you know what you're talking about, don't tell me, especially in social, because a lot of people can read the books and read content is king and can read, you know, all the certifications and things like that, but show me what you know. And doing it by the formatting and all of that is great. My autobiography or biography, once I, you know, kick the bucket, will be entitled "She Who Did Not Like Words," and it will be blank pages, like with 2 words in it. So I barely put words in any of my presentations.
But it won't have a title because it won't have any words.
It would just be "She Who Does Not Like Words." That's the title. That's the title. That's it. And just blank pages. And it just, you start and then you just draw your way through my life story. Pictures. Figure it out.
Can't wait to check out that book. Anyone that was a part of this presentation gets a free copy.
Hey, as soon as it's not written, you guys got it.
Promo code SBC Rising Pro.
Boom.
Just want to say, echoing professionalism was unbelievable, and I think Carl and Laura hit the nail on the head as far as the feedback, and that's just coachable moments. And now that you guys have done that, you're going to think about that in a different light. And every presentation, you know, going forward is going to be better. So, thank you so much for investing the time and putting yourself out there. I do want to recognize Lana. I could clearly see Lana was proud throughout the entire presentation. So at a bare minimum, you made her proud. You also made me proud, and obviously did a great job. We can give all the credit to Mike and Jasmine. But clearly that you had some good leadership and some good supervision and some good support. But at the end of the day, you guys did an amazing job individually. So thank you so much. We're going to be announcing our winners a week from tomorrow. So we'll do like a live session on YouTube. Laura and Carl will be on there, share some feedbacks and themes, and then we'll announce the winner. And then, you know, one thing I want to talk about too is we're going to create a mentorship program out of this too. So for those of you that came through this program, if you want to have a mentor, whether it's somebody you've already met, or if you want to have another mentor that's not currently included, we want to kind of continue the learning, continue the mentorship, and continue the support. So just know that the road doesn't end with the Rising Pro certification program. Okay. You guys, once again, thank you so much for your time. Really, really great job. And we'll see you next Thursday. Laura and Carl, thank you very much. We have one more presentation tonight at 6 o'clock. So take a break, get a bite to eat, and we'll see you at 6.
All right, bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Great job.
Bye.
Bye.